Nike just made the biggest bet in women's basketball history, and you will not believe what is happening inside their headquarters right now. Caitlin Clark has completely transformed the landscape of signature shoe culture, and the footage coming out of Beaverton, Oregon has left the entire basketball world speechless. If you thought Nike was just giving her a standard endorsement deal, you have been severely underestimating what is actually going down behind those corporate doors. Before we dive into the wildest Nike takeover story since Michael Jordan himself, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you excited for Caitlin Clark's signature shoe? What colorway do you want to see first? Let me know, because this is going to be absolutely legendary. The images and videos emerging from Nike headquarters tell a story that nobody could have predicted just 2 years ago. When Caitlin Clark signed her deal with the swoosh, industry insiders estimated it was worth somewhere around $28 million over 8 years. That number alone was historic for women's basketball. But what Nike has done since then goes far beyond writing checks. They have essentially handed her the keys to the kingdom. Walking through Nike's Beaverton campus now is like entering a shrine dedicated to one player. The From Anywhere campaign, which became one of the most recognizable marketing pushes in recent sports history, covers entire building walls. Her interlocking double C logo has become as recognizable to employees as the swoosh itself. Design teams have been working around the clock on prototype after prototype, and the technology they are developing specifically for her signature line is unlike anything the company has produced before. But that was not the whole story. What happened next would shock everyone who doubted Nike's commitment to women's basketball. Reports indicate that Clark essentially has an open-door policy at headquarters now. While most Nike athletes get scheduled visits and formal presentations, she moves freely through the campus. Her representatives attend daily design meetings. Her performance team uses Nike's facilities whenever they need. There is a permanent workspace set up for her entourage on the executive floor. This is not normal. This is unprecedented. Nike is treating Caitlin Clark like she is already the face of their entire basketball division. The celebrity partnerships surrounding her brand have reached levels usually reserved for male superstar athletes. Kelce appeared in her commercials, creating crossover appeal between football and basketball audiences. His brother Jason Kelce has filmed content with her during Indiana Fever games. The marketing strategy is genius because they are positioning her not just as a basketball player, but as a mainstream entertainment figure who happens to dominate on the court. Now here is where things get really interesting. The signature shoe that everyone has been waiting for is scheduled to drop in 2026, and the technology being developed is supposedly going to surpass anything Nike has ever created for a basketball shoe. Think about that for a moment. They are not just giving her a shoe with her name on it, they are actually developing new technology specifically for her game. Her shooting form, her movement patterns, her specific needs as a point guard who can pull up from anywhere, all of it is being analyzed and incorporated into the design. What happened next would change everything about how we think about women's basketball marketing. The contrast between Nike's investment in different athletes has become impossible to ignore. While some signature shoes in the women's basketball space have struggled to find their audience at retail, the anticipation for Clark's release has already generated more organic buzz than some fully launched campaigns ever achieved. Social media discussions about her upcoming shoe dominate basketball forums. Sneaker influencers who normally focus exclusively on men's products are already speculating about colorways and release strategies. This brings up an uncomfortable truth about the signature shoe market that nobody wants to talk about openly. Basketball skill alone does not guarantee signature shoe success in today's market. Personality matters, marketability matters. The ability to connect with fans beyond just playing the game matters. Clark has demonstrated all of these qualities at levels that transcend the typical athlete endorsement playbook. Her college career at Iowa created a built-in fan base that followed her to the professional level. The numbers she put up, including becoming the all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I basketball history regardless of gender, gave her legitimate basketball credentials. But it was how she carried herself, the confidence without arrogance, the competitiveness that resonated with fans, that created something special. Nike recognized this before anyone else fully understood what they were witnessing. But here is what most people do not realize about what is happening behind the scenes. The design lab at Nike headquarters has been filled with Clark's signature shoe prototypes for months. Her color preferences are influencing Nike's entire women's basketball line going forward. Meeting rooms have been renamed after her college achievements. The company president personally walks her through facility upgrades. One insider described the atmosphere during her visits as similar to what they imagined it was like when Michael Jordan was in his prime with the brand. That comparison keeps coming up again and again. Multiple people who have witnessed Clark's presence at Nike headquarters have said they have never seen anything like this since Jordan's era. The level of attention, the resources being dedicated, the way executives clear their schedules when she arrives. It all points to Nike believing they have found their next transcendent basketball figure. Her player-exclusive colorways have already made waves on NBA courts before her signature shoe even launches officially. Professional players have been spotted wearing Clark-inspired colors during games. The influence she carries extends to the highest levels of basketball without a single retail release. That kind of organic demand is exactly what sneaker companies dream about. Now, let me tell you something that is going to blow your mind about the marketing strategy. Nike learned valuable lessons about what works and what does not work in the women's basketball signature shoe space. The market is different from the men's side. Fan engagement patterns are different. Purchase motivations are different. They have been studying all of this data and applying it specifically to how they position Clark's upcoming release. Everything from the price point to the storytelling to the celebrity collaborations has been optimized based on what they have learned. The Fever point guard's recovery from her knee injury earlier in her career only added to the narrative around her brand. Adversity creates compelling stories, and Nike knows how to tell stories better than anyone in sports marketing. When she returned to the court and continued dominating, it reinforced the messaging about resilience and determination that resonates with consumers on an emotional level. What they discovered next would rewrite the rules of women's basketball marketing entirely. The 2026 release window is strategic for multiple reasons. It allows time for maximum hype building. It gives Nike the opportunity to seed the market with limited player exclusives. It creates anticipation that money cannot buy. By the time her signature shoe actually hits shelves, the demand will have been building for years. This is the Jordan playbook being executed for women's basketball potentially for the first time at this scale. Sophie Cunningham, Clark's teammate on the Indiana Fever, has been supportive of the attention her star point guard receives. The team chemistry in Indiana seems to benefit from having a player with this level of star power. When one player elevates the entire franchise's visibility, everyone wins. More eyeballs mean more revenue, mean better facilities and resources for the entire roster. The Fever roster includes talented players like Aaliyah Boston, who brought her own championship pedigree from South Carolina, and role players who complement Clark's playmaking ability. The team is built to maximize what Clark does best while surrounding her with players who understand their roles. This organizational commitment to building around a generational talent mirrors what successful NBA franchises have done with their superstars. Here is the part that nobody is talking about yet. The global implications of Clark's Nike deal extend far beyond American basketball courts. Nike sees her as the face of women's basketball internationally. The marketing campaigns are being designed with global audiences in mind. Her personality translates across cultural boundaries in ways that make her uniquely valuable for expanding the women's game worldwide. China represents a massive untapped market for women's basketball merchandise. Europe has growing interest in the WNBA following increased media coverage. Australia has always been a basketball-loving nation. Nike is positioning Clark as the ambassador who can open all of these markets simultaneously. The signature shoe is not just a product, it is a vehicle for global expansion of women's basketball as an entertainment product. The technology in her upcoming shoe reportedly includes innovations in cushioning, support, and responsiveness that were developed specifically for her playing style. Guards who shoot off the dribble from deep range have different needs than post players or slashers. Nike's performance team has been studying her game film, her movement patterns, and her physical mechanics to create something optimized for exactly how she plays. But what happened after this would change everything. The From Anywhere campaign became more than a marketing slogan. It became a movement. Fans started using the hashtag for their own basketball achievements. Youth players began emulating her shooting form and confidence. The cultural impact extended beyond simply selling shoes into actually influencing how young girls and boys approach the game of basketball. Nike executives have stated publicly that their investment in women's basketball will continue growing regardless of individual athlete performance. But privately, industry sources suggest that Clark's success will determine just how aggressively they pursue this market segment. If her signature shoe performs at projected levels, it could open the floodgates for more women's basketball investments across the industry. The rivalry narratives that have been constructed around women's basketball have also benefited Nike's marketing strategy. Competition drives interest, interest drives viewership, viewership drives merchandise sales. The cycle feeds itself when you have compelling personalities creating must-watch moments on the court. What most fans do not understand is how carefully orchestrated all of this actually is. Every social media post is optimized. Every appearance is strategic. Every partnership serves multiple purposes. The machine behind Caitlin Clark's brand is operating at a level of sophistication usually reserved for the biggest names in all of sports. Nike did not just sign a basketball player. They invested in building a global icon, the cookies with her logo at Nike headquarters, the coffee branded with her image, the shooting sessions filmed against backdrops featuring her double C design. All of this content is created intentionally to generate exactly the kind of organic social media buzz that drives conversation and ultimately drives sales. Her signature shoe will likely be one of the most anticipated releases in women's basketball history when it finally drops. The groundwork being laid now will pay dividends for years to come. Nike is playing the long game with Clark, and every indication suggests they believe she will deliver returns that justify their historic investment. The transformation of Nike headquarters into what feels like Caitlin Clark's personal empire represents something bigger than one athlete's endorsement deal. It represents a fundamental shift in how the sports industry views women's basketball as a commercial enterprise. The ceiling that everyone assumed existed has been shattered. Now, I need you to do me a favor. If you made it this far in the video, you already know how important this story is for the future of women's basketball. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because we are going to be covering every single development with Clark's signature shoe release and everything else happening in the WNBA. Drop a comment below telling me what feature you want to see most in her signature shoe. More cushioning, better ankle support, wild colorways? Let me know, and I will see you in the next video.